Hello YouTube! We're going to be checking out an account today who is struggling with the Star Expedition. And hopefully today we're going to show you how a lot of you later game players can approach Star Expedition in a way that's going to really benefit your guild. A lot of you might already know this, but a lot of you probably don't. And that's why we're making today's video, to show you how to do the optimal lineup for Star Expedition. This was an asked for video, and Rowan's account here that we're about to look at was perfect for the job. So let's go and take a look. Funnily enough, when we reviewed Rowan's account on Tuesday, he turned around to me and said, "Yo MK, I feel like I'm not doing anything with my EOS." And I was like, well, I know something you can do with your EOS. It's called Star Expedition. When you're trying to get as much damage as you can against this big, bad, evil boss, the best thing you can do is have Burn on your team. The reason Burn is so good is because of the monster Phoenix. When you burn opponents, Phoenix gives your team an added buff, and that buff allows you to do 80% bonus damage against burning targets. However, to keep the opponent burning, we need to keep throwing out the fire, and to do that, we need someone who can burn. Unfortunately, EOS brings that to the table. For that, our EOS needs to be faster than Vesa, so that the burn can just keep coming out. And also, you need to make sure the EOS has more attack, and the reason being, the boss is going to hit the hero with the most attack, and we want it to be EOS, not Vesa. And we don't want Vesa to get energy stolen. That would be disastrous. So it hits the highest attack. That's why we make EOS the highest attack, and we're all good. Yes, clever. That's why it's good. I know this. By the way, you're going to need some carries on here as well. And a lot of people get confused. Like, why the heck are you using baby carries in the guild? What on earth's the point in the Star Expedition? How does that improve your damage? Well, it all comes down to this. Osis armor. If you have all the different pieces of Osis, which we do right here, we've got Osis Persuasion, we've got Tranquility, we've got Foresight, we have Destiny. And by using these, we gain the bonus which says, when anyone dies in the battle, all allies will gain 10% attack, 10% holy damage, 10% all damage dealt, 20% crit rate, and that will last for 15 rounds. So you're getting a higher chance to crit, you're getting more damage, and it just works out beautifully. And that means that with our heroes, we don't have to run them with crit. We just go for crit damage, we burst out and do a lot. We get attack, we get holy damage, we're in a beautiful position, and that is why, when you take a look at these heroes, they're going to look really weird. So if we go to the formation and look at the Guild Expedition boss, you'll see that we're running Armor Break, crit damage, and precision. Now, the reason we have precision and armor break is because armor break is going to get us past the opponent's defenses, which means our attack is going to get through. And then we have precision because we're getting so much holy damage that the scaling bonuses of precision actually works out to give us a better performance. In addition, we're going to be using AMB on the EOS. That's going to allow her to not die and give her a lot of protection. And she's already got a lot of attack with an attack stone, and she's coming in at 174. Where if you go take a look at the Fairy Queen, she's coming at 174 as well, but it's point nothing. Whereas for the Sun Devourer EOS, it's 0.5. So I've been very sneaky on how I've got this one in. It's very clever, because what you do is you make her slightly higher on attack. And the way we've done that is by going to the Celestial Island and splitting our houses. So we have a few bonuses here. We got the Russell, we got the Seer, who we got the Aspen in there. And then we've got our other bonuses coming in for here on our Vesa. We've got the Jara, we've got the Sword Flash, we've got the Flora and the Rogan. And that together brings us a really powerful Vesa and a really powerful EOS. And obviously, Vesa's going to be the one doing all the damage, because that's what Vesa does. She's just a big-ass damage dealer, as well as giving us some protection and healing, which is very good. So, without all this ramble-jambling, let's go and send this team in to show you how this works. So, let's go with our first challenge. We're going to go to preset lineups, and we're going to pop in the team. Hopefully, this works. Now, this Guild Expedition boss is number 53, so I think we're going to get away with being very aggressive. We haven't got Unbending Will on here, and we aren't using damage reduction. We might need to put Unbending Will in, so we need to watch the fight to ensure that we're not dying. So here we go. So there you go. First things first, you'll see Vesa's getting active skills. EOS is going first, and she's faster. She's got more attack, so she's getting hit by the boss. All is working nicely. There we go. Let's go to 3 times speed. Let's bring this in. And you will see us do a colossal amount of damage. Just got to be careful that we don't die here. Nice bit of healing and protection coming in from the Vesa. We are taking a gnarly amount of damage, but we are holding in. That's very good. And wow, that's so much coming out. How much is this going to come in at? Let's take a look. How do we manage to do? Here we go. And look, just like that, we managed to do 1 trillion damage. That's not even the most people are capable of doing. But with this team, that is not bad. So yeah, solid lineup. Very solid lineup. Let's go again and see if we can hit the boss for even more damage. Now, you might know on the VIP series, I'm using Antler's Cane with a Sword Flash, and that only gets 400 billion. And oh no! Eos died! Oh, cock. Okay, so this is one of those moments where you're like, right, we need to be running Unbending Will on the Eos. That was not good. Yeah, that was very bad. These are the things you need to know, right? You've got to watch out for moments like that. So let's go to our formation, and let's go to the Guild Expedition boss. And you have to watch these things. You've got to know just where the power level of your team is. So we definitely need Unbending Will on the Eos to keep her alive, because that was bad. She died, and that's not good. You don't want that to happen. So this is why you need to watch the fights, because you've got to know where the power level of your team is. So let's go in and attack. We got 1 more attempt at this. 1 more attack for today. So let's go. You should be doing 3 attacks every single day. And let's see how this comes out. There we go. Eos's Unbending Will has been triggered. Oh, Vesa, you nearly died. I think we're fine now, though. Yeah, okay. So Unbending Will on the Eos was an excellent call. Now, thanks to the shields and the protection we're getting from the Vesa, we should be able to stay alive and be just fine. But man, that was scary. That was momentary fear right there. But yeah, we're looking good now. We should get some decent damage coming in. Let's go see how we did. There we go. Much better. 1 trillion damage. So hopefully you guys have learned something today. It's pretty simple. All you need to do is make Eos faster than Vesa. Have her with more attack. Now, there's a few other things you need to know if you're going to be doing this. Ideally, you want them to be Void 4 homeowners and have tenant bonuses, or they will die even easier. The fact I had to run Unbending Will on the Eos is pretty nightmarish. And another thing you're going to need, which is surprising for a lot of people, Magic Stone Sword is something you want to be running on Vesa, because it keeps her alive, doesn't let her take too much damage, and offers her very, very helpful protection. We're running AMB on the Eos. Magic Stone Sword would be better. I imagine if we were using Magic Stone Sword, we would get away with Balance Strike, but because of the AMB, we had to run Unbending Will. AMB is still a fantastic artifact, but obviously it's not Magic Stone Sword. Magic Stone Sword's so cool because it means you can only take a certain amount of damage, which is just a fantastic way to be, really. And by not being able to take more damage than a fixed amount, it means it's a lot harder for people to kill you. Whereas AMB's damage protection comes from the amount of attack you've got. Now, Eos naturally will have a lot of attack, so she is able to survive. And yeah, it works out pretty good. Now, let's talk more about the Star Expedition before we go today, just because a lot of you still don't quite know what you need to be doing here. The reason this team works is because all the purification progress is 10 out of 10. So if it isn't 10 out of 10, this won't work against the opponent. The reason, they get fancy tentacles, loads of protection, can deal more damage, and it just means that your team is more likely to die. So there are other lineups you're going to want to be using. For most people, you're going to have to experiment and see what works for you, because everyone's account is different when it comes to star spawns, Celestial Island progress. Finding a good team can often be quite tricky. I know some people like to use Andrea, so there's a use for her, but that doesn't mean you have to go ahead and build her straight away. There are some interesting teams and lineups out there. I'd encourage you to check out the Discord, ask around, and experiment yourself to see what works for you. In addition, when it comes to clearing these out, look for what your guild boss wants you to do. Ideally, your guild leader will want you to go and attack one of these on day 2. Because on day 1, you should be able to complete the Stinging Desert, should be able to complete the Tainted Hills, then you do 1 attack against the boss. No more, just 1. Then on day 2, you finish the Cursed Forest, which you went in on day 1, you do the Plagued Waters, and then you should have enough attacks left over to go to either level 5, level 6, or level 7, and if you can one-shot those waves, you can go straight through without losing a single fight, you'll be able to get a Purification progress for your guild. So if you're in a really strong guild, ideally everyone can get 10 out of 10 in on day 2. That means you need to save your boss attacks for when everyone's managed to do that. And it's very difficult because there's only 30 people in a guild. So everyone needs to complete it. Level 5, level 6, level 7. So you need to be really coordinated and know what you're doing. If your guild is that good though, you then, at the end of day 2, have no more tentacles to worry about, and you can go ahead and fight the boss man. And use whatever team works for you. In this case, we were using the Vesa and Eos team, which we demonstrated using Magic Stone Sword, Augustus Magic Ball. I personally, on the VIP series, I use 5 carries. Same thing with the Osis setup, just to give us that death and return. But I use Antler's Cane on a Sword Flash, because that's the best damage that I can get on my account, because I don't have Vesa or Eos. If you don't have Eos, but you do have a Vesa, you can experiment with just using Vesa and some carries, or maybe you want to use Vesa alongside an Ignis, whatever works for you. But ultimately, you should be able to have a pretty fun time dealing a lot of damage against the Star Expedition. And the more damage you're able to do, the higher you're going to rank in your members ranking, and being higher on the members ranking means your guild is going to rank higher. So that's what you want to be aiming for. You want to perform well yourself, and you want to allow your guild to perform well too. Make sure you collect all your rewards, and after you've collected in your rewards, it should give you all of these things. Now, we haven't gone round to the islands yet, but eventually we will collect another expedition certificate and one more, which will take us to 2. 3 is the most you can have, but when daily reset lands in, that'll take us up to 3, and it'll be absolutely perfect for another 3 fights, and then we reclaim 2. The final thing I need to stress, because a lot of people forget this, is that when the event comes to an end, when that timer says ending in less than 24 hours, use all of your attacks. I know so many people who have attacks left over because they forget and just think, oh, I'll do 3 a day. When the final day comes, that is when you go nuts and you just use every single attack you've got, and hopefully your team is pretty good. You'll notice a lot of people tune up their accounts for Star Expedition and then just have it like that for the whole week, and then when it finally goes, they change it back to whatever they like for PvP or other game modes. But generally, that's what people are doing. Star Expedition week, trying to do as much damage as they can using a Vesa and an Eos, or in my case, an Antler's Cane on a Sword Flash. Hopefully you found this useful. If you've got any more questions about the Star Expedition, or you want to know teams that are good for going around the whole expedition itself, I mean, first of all, you should go check out the VIP series. I've been using a nice team using HomesYoung and Amun-Ra. HomesYoung is fantastic, by the way, in the Star Expedition, because he can turn people into dubs. Jara works too. Just CC is very strong in 6 opponent fights. Think of it like the Void Vortex. That's probably how you want to approach it. Anyway, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, and happy idling.